Human behavior often exposes our deepest truths in the most unexpected ways. Sometimes a single spontaneous choice can illuminate aspects of our personality that remain hidden through years of deliberate introspection. What makes these moments significant is not their rationality, but rather their immediacy. They occur before our logical mind constructs explanations or defenses. You are about to participate in such an experience. Before you stand for distinct horses. These are not merely animals in a visual exercise. Each represents a unique psychological dimension, a specific emotional frequency, a particular way of engaging with the world. Your task is simple yet profound. Observe them carefully and notice which one naturally draws your attention. This is not about conscious preference or analytical comparison. Allow your intuitive response to guide you without interference from rational thought. The significance of this exercise lies in its methodology. The moment you begin analyzing your choice, you distance yourself from the authentic response this assessment aims to capture. Renowned psychologist Carl Jung proposed that symbolic imagery communicates directly with our unconscious mind. Before we develop a capacity for verbal self-explanation, our inner psychological landscape already comprehends images, impulses, and emotional resonances. The unconscious realm does not operate through linguistic reasoning. Instead, it expresses itself through attraction, aversion, fascination, and recognition. The horse that captures your attention is far from arbitrary. It mirrors a primary psychological dynamic currently influencing your existence, regardless of your conscious awareness. Many individuals invest considerable time attempting self-understanding through increased thinking, extensive reading, or persistent questioning. However, some of the most revealing insights emerge through the opposite approach, when we permit ourselves to select without requiring justification. This assessment functions effectively precisely because it circumvents rational processing and accesses something more fundamental. As you observe the horses, you might experience calmness, tension, recognition, or perhaps opposition. Do not attempt to modify these responses. Even resistance carries meaning. Occasionally we are attracted not to what provides comfort, but to what addresses a deeper necessity. After making your selection, maintain that image in your awareness. Do not hurry forward. Each horse embodies a different relationship with instinct, emotion, autonomy, and internal strength. None possesses inherent superiority over others. They simply illuminate different approaches through which the psyche learns to survive, adapt, and develop. This exercise is not designed to forecast your future or assign personality categories. Its purpose is to help recognize which inner dynamic currently seeks acknowledgement. Jung described this process as individuation, the progressive revelation of your authentic self beneath societal roles, external expectations, and protective fears. In the following analysis, you will discover what your selected horse represents. You may experience immediate recognition or unexpected discomfort. Both responses hold validity. Genuine self-knowledge does not always provide comfort, but it consistently offers truth. Before proceeding, commit to maintaining openness. What you discover may already be shaping your decisions more significantly than you currently recognize. Let us now explore what each horse represents. The first horse, the force of primal instinct. Selecting this horse indicates a profound connection to instinctual awareness. This is not primitive in nature, but rather deeply authentic. This horse represents fundamental psychological energy, the aspect of yourself that responds before explanation, experiences emotion before rationalization, and initiates action before hesitation. Individuals attracted to this horse typically maintain proximity to their emotional life. You likely experience feelings with considerable intensity, passion, frustration, desire, excitement, anger. These emotions are not deficiencies, but rather informational signals. Your psychological system responds actively to environmental stimuli, and your physical being often recognizes truth before your cognitive mind completes interpretation. You trust intuitive knowing even when verbal explanation proves difficult. From Jungian perspective, this horse connects closely to the instinctual foundation of the psyche upon which consciousness develops. Instinct ensures survival, but also propels us toward authenticity. You probably find repression challenging. When attempting to ignore emotional truth, internal pressure accumulates rapidly. Your inner world demands expression. This can make you appear confident, spontaneous, or emotionally powerful to observers. You may hear that you are excessive, too sensitive, too reactive, too intense. What frequently goes unrecognized is your courage. Maintaining emotional depth requires strength in a culture that often rewards emotional detachment. Remaining connected to instinct demands resilience when many have become disconnected from themselves. However, this horse also reveals a developmental challenge. When instinct operates without conscious reflection, it can generate exhaustion, interpersonal conflict, or subsequent regret. Acting purely from emotional impulse may provide immediate release, but create lasting consequences. Your development path does not require suppressing instinct, but rather learning to honor it without being dominated by it. People who select this horse often possess natural leadership qualities. Others may follow not because you're strategic, but because you are vitally present. Your presence carries energetic force. You introduce movement into stagnant circumstances. You remind people that existence is meant to be experienced fully, not merely organized efficiently. Simultaneously, your journey often involves cultivating patience, not as restriction but as conscious awareness. When instinct and consciousness collaborate, you become powerfully balanced. You take action with clarity rather than confusion. If this horse resonated with you, consider where in your life you are being called to honor genuine feelings instead of rationalizing them away. Where have you dismissed instinct for the sake of comfort or social acceptance? Your psyche is not requesting you diminish your fire, but rather to channel it consciously. The second horse, the strength of inner depth. If this horse captured your attention, your internal world likely operates more quietly than most, yet contains profound richness. This horse represents emotional depth, introspective capacity, and the psychological strength emerging from observation rather than reaction. You process life experiences internally, often long before revealing your feelings to others. Individuals connected to this horse tend to navigate the world thoughtfully. You listen more extensively than you speak. You perceive details others miss, tonal shifts, emotional subtexts, unspoken tensions. While some misinterpret this as remoteness or passivity, it actually demonstrates emotional sophistication. You do not rush responses because you understand the significance of words and actions. In Jungian framework, this horse symbolizes strong connection with the internal observer, the psychological aspect that reflects, integrates, and creates meaning from experience. You naturally incline towards self-examination. Silence does not disturb you. Frequently, it feels like sanctuary. Your thoughts deepen when external noise diminishes. This depth, however, presents a paradox. Because you contain so much internally, others may never completely understand you. You might have learned early that openly expressing emotions did not feel secure or effective. Consequently, you developed a rich inner existence as protective adaptation. This is not weakness, but intelligent response to circumstances. Yet adaptation can gradually become isolation if unexamined. When emotions remain unexpressed extensively, they do not vanish. They accumulate internally. This can create emotional heaviness even when surface circumstances appear satisfactory. You may experience fatigue without clear cause or feel disconnected despite being surrounded by people. Your strength resides in reflective capacity, but your growth lies in selective expression. Not everyone requires access to your inner world, but someone should. Depth transforms into wisdom only when allowed to move outward, even gently. Those choosing this horse often carry quiet leadership influence. You affect others not through volume or force, but through presence. People feel calmer around you, even when they cannot articulate why. You remind them that stillness holds value in a chaotic world. Consider where in your life you are withholding words that need speaking. Where has silence protected you, and where has it constrained you? Your psyche is not requesting you become louder, but rather to trust that your voice, when employed, carries significance. The third horse, the spirit of continuous transformation. If this horse attracted you, you are someone who feels most alive through movement. This horse represents freedom, metamorphosis, and the profound psychological requirement to evolve. You are uncomfortable remaining unchained for extended periods, not due to instability, but because your inner world constantly reshapes itself. People drawn to this horse often sense when a life phase has exhausted its purpose, even when nothing appears problematic. Routine can feel constraining. Repetition depletes your energy. You may have altered paths, identities, or aspirations multiple times, not from confusion, but from instinctive understanding that growth requires motion. From Jungian perspective, this horse reflects strong connection to the individuation process, the ongoing transformation of self. You are less interested in fixed definitions and more attracted to potential. You do not ask, "Who am I?" as much as, "Who am I becoming?" This future-oriented psyche thrives on discovery, challenge, and renewal. However, the desire for freedom contains its own shadow. Constant movement can sometimes disguise avoidance. When change occurs too rapidly, it may function as escape from unresolved emotions or uncomfortable realities. You may fear stagnation, but what truly concerns you is being confined to a self-version that no longer fits. Those selecting this horse often struggle with patience, not from lacking discipline, but because waiting feels like immobility. Yet certain transformations require stillness before unfolding. Learning when to move and when to pause represents crucial development for you. Your strength lies in adaptability. You recover swiftly. You reinvent yourself courageously. You are willing to release what no longer serves you, even when others cling to familiarity. This makes you inspiring, but can also create loneliness. Not everyone can match your pace of internal change. Consider whether you are moving towards something or away from something. Freedom becomes meaningful when guided by intention rather than restlessness. Your psyche is not requesting you cease evolving, but rather become conscious of why you evolve. The fourth horse, the power of hidden strength. If this horse is your choice, you are drawn to what exists beneath the surface. This horse represents a shadow, a concept Carl Jung employed to describe aspects of ourselves that were rejected, concealed, or pushed into darkness to gain acceptance, love, or safety. People resonating with this horse often felt different from early age. You may have sensed that certain traits, your intensity, sensitivity, anger, ambition, or independence, were not welcomed by others. Over time, you learned to conceal these aspects, not because they were wrong, but because they were powerful. What society cannot easily comprehend, it often asks us to hide. The shadow is not malevolent. It is simply unconscious, and within it resides enormous strength. Choosing this horse suggests you carry abilities you have not fully claimed. There may be talents you minimize, boundaries you hesitate to establish, or truths you avoid expressing. Often this occurs because acknowledging them would require change in relationships, roles, or identity. The shadow grows heavier when ignored and lighter when understood. From Jungian perspective, shadow integration is not about becoming someone different. It is about becoming complete. The aspects of yourself that feel uncomfortable, contradictory, or intense are not obstacles to development. They are gateways. What you suppress does not disappear. It waits. When it emerges unconsciously, it often does so through conflict, self-sabotage, or projection onto others. You may notice strong emotional reactions to certain individuals. Irritation, admiration, envy, or judgment can all indicate shadow material. These reactions are mirrors, not mistakes. They reveal qualities you either deny in yourself or desire to reclaim. Those drawn to this horse often possess profound resilience. You have navigated emotional complexity that others never confronted. You understand pain not as weakness, but as information. This grants you rare capacity for empathy and also responsibility to yourself. Consider what parts of yourself you still conceal to maintain harmony or approval. What would occur if you allowed yourself to be fully visible? Your psyche is not requesting you eliminate the shadow, but rather to walk beside it consciously, courageously, and without shame. Integration, the path to psychological wholeness. Your horse selection was not a label, but a signal. Each horse represents a dominant psychological force, instinct, depth, transformation, or shadow. But no human being consists of only one. This assessment's purpose is not placing you into categories, but revealing which aspect of your psyche currently requests attention. Carl Jung believed genuine psychological growth emerges from integration, not identification. When we attach too strongly to one self-aspect, we lose balance. Instinct without reflection becomes chaos. Silence without expression becomes isolation. Transformation without grounding becomes restlessness. Shadow without awareness becomes self-sabotage. Your chosen horse indicates where your energy naturally flows. The other horses reveal what may be underdeveloped, ignored, or waiting in background. Growth begins when you recognize this dynamic honestly. If you chose the instinct horse, integration means learning when to pause, not to suppress feelings, but to guide them. If you chose the silence horse, integration means permitting safe expression, allowing your inner world to be witnessed without fear. If you chose the transformation horse, integration means recognizing when stillness enables deeper change. If you chose the shadow horse, integration means reclaiming hidden strengths without shame or apology. Individuation is not a destination, but a process. You do not become whole in a single moment. You move toward wholeness through awareness, choice, and courage. The unconscious becomes less threatening when named. Internal conflict softens when opposing forces are permitted to coexist. This is why your choice mattered. Not because it predicts your future, but because it reveals the psychological climate of your present. It shows what is shaping your decisions, relationships, and reactions currently. Take a moment to reflect. Where in your life do you experience tension, stagnation, or confusion? Often these indicate one inner force dominating, while another is ignored. Balance does not come from eliminating self-aspects, but from listening to them. As you proceed, carry this awareness forward. Notice when instinct rises, when silence calls, when change demands action, or when the shadow asks recognition. These moments are invitations not to judge yourself, but to understand yourself more profoundly. The path forward is not about choosing the correct horse, but learning to honor all of them with consciousness and respect.